Howdy, my name is Nonat, and I am back! For those of you who are not aware, I spent the last 4 days like this. But now I'm better. Slightly congested, but better. I'm taking it easy. I'm going to be giving you a nice, short, little, simple video here today, and then tomorrow and the next day I'll be getting out the Lizard Folk and Cleric guides. But for now, this video is going to be super chill. In fact, it's completely unscripted. Obviously, it's edited, but I'm just going to ramble about a topic I'm kind of partial to. Like I said in November, there are going to be videos this month that are not related to Pathfinder 2nd Edition and more focused on roleplay in general, and this is one such video. In fact, this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now, as it's one of my strategies I use as a dungeon master that I have never seen anybody else use. Which surprises me. Now, obviously, I'm mostly a GM, so I've only played with maybe 5 or 6 dungeon masters, but in anything I've watched or experienced, I've never seen dungeon masters fall back on this tactic as much as I think they should. Let's back up a little bit and explain what this tactic is for before I go into actually what it is. So I want to paint a picture for you guys. There's, four players, 1 dungeon master, all at the table, and 2 players are going really heated back and forth in roleplay. They're very hot and heavy, different opinions, going at it, trying to come to a solid ground in the party. Meanwhile, the other 2 players are just either sitting there listening, glassy-eyed, maybe in some extreme circumstances on their phone, not paying attention, and while those 2 are having a ton of fun, the other 2 are definitely out of it and either don't feel like they can participate or just can't figure out how. When 2 people are deep in a conversation, it gets awkward and difficult to butt in, It'll feel like, I don't want to... a lot of players think I don't want to hurt their roleplay by butting in with my roleplay, when in reality, that's what the game is about, is shared roleplay. It's never about 1 or 2 characters. So that's one picture. I want to paint you a second one with a similar problem, where you just have the player who doesn't roleplay. Again, whether they don't want to, or don't know how, or don't think they can do it right. It's shocking, but especially for new players, they're afraid to roleplay because they think they'll do it wrong. And it's understandable, D&D and role-playing games as a whole have existed for decades, and these, new players think that there is a level they need to reach before they're, as cool as the rest of us, when that's really not the case. It's much more of a mental barrier that gets put in front of you. Like I said, I'm rambling, some of this might not make a whole lot of sense, I'm still sick, so I can use that as an excuse, but I just hope what I'm trying to get across here is clear, that roleplay can be difficult, and it's not always the player's fault when they struggle to get into it. Mental barriers, social barriers, just not knowing what to say or do are all very common blocks for players. What's important to remember is that as the game master, you don't just control mechanics. This bit of information I'm about to give you is for the game masters out there, and I think it could really turn the games around for those players who can't seem to get a word in edgewise for one reason or another. You can help these players out by asking one simple question. Whether they haven't spoken up in an hour, or the 2 people are going back and forth in a heated argument, or they just don't know what to do, you pause the table, because you as a GM have the right to say, hold on, you look them in the eye, or the computer monitor if you're playing online, and you ask, what is your character thinking right now? Now, obviously, sometimes you'll get the, I don't know, he's just there. And at that point, it's hard, because that's clearly a person who just doesn't want to be there, which is unfortunate, but it does happen. But from my experience, 9 times out of 10, when you pause the table, and it's sort of putting them on the spot, but again, you're among a group of friends, you point at them and you say, what is your character thinking right now? And if they weren't thinking about it before, they're instantly like, I need to make a decision. He's thinking that he agrees with Simon's plan and not so much Richter's. In the example of the argument, it can be really interesting and lead to some cool moments where, if Simon and Richter are going head-to-head in this argument for 5-10 minutes, and you pause, and you go, Alucard, what are you thinking right now? I don't know why I'm using Castlevania names, it's just coming to mind. Well, and suddenly, the player role-playing Alucard has something to say. He has to say something. He doesn't have to speak up in character, but at least we get to know what's going on in his character's head, which can lead to some stuff down the road. It helps him have a moment all to himself to develop their character. And sure, maybe they don't have anything important to say, but it gives them that chance. If it's a social barrier blocking them, it gives them an opportunity to slide into the conversation, and they weren't the one to interrupt the conversation. If your GM interrupts an in-player conversation, that's typically understandable. It can be a little hard as a player to interrupt another player, but if the GM interrupts them for you, it's a lot easier to get your word in. Similarly, if it's that mental barrier holding them back, this is their ticket. This is the GM unlocking the gate and saying, say what's on your mind. Don't care what it is. What is he thinking? I'm not making you say anything out loud. I'm not making you act. I just want to know, what is your character thinking about the situation at hand? In a game where the 4 people have been playing, 3 of them have been role-playing, and the one guy has just been kind of sitting in the back, rolling, attacking in combat, and that's about it, even if there's not a whole lot going on, if they settle in for camp for the night, they just fought a pack of wargs, they're all cut up, the cleric's going around tending to wounds, and the ranger character, who's just not super into roleplay or hasn't gotten a chance to roleplay really, if you just take that moment as everyone sets up camp and you go, Ranger, what's on your mind? What is your character thinking about everything they've been through today with the wargs? What does he think about the cleric? And really, especially in a first session or two, if they're new to the game and it's new characters, this is a great chance for that player to expand their character. And it's as simple as that, really. That can lead to so much. I've had moments where I ask them this and they come out of nowhere, they do something, and the spotlight gets to be on them for a brief moment. Now, don't ask them this every 5 minutes. You don't ask them how they're thinking, let the game go on for 20 minutes, and ask them again what they're thinking. No, do it maybe once every session or two, and you'll be surprised how much they can grow their character this way. Also, if you do this enough, it will keep your players on their toes a little bit and keep them paying attention, because there will be nothing more embarrassing as a player if your GM says, hey, what are you thinking about right now? And you go, Twitter? If people know they can be called on for their thoughts and opinions at any time, they better be paying attention to the story and the conversation and what's going on, otherwise they won't exactly be prepared. But let me know what you think. Do you use this tactic? Have you used something similar? Have you had this tactic used on you? What were your thoughts and experiences? I want to know. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Once again, thank you so much for your patience with me being sick. Hopefully my voice will be completely better tomorrow. I know I'm still a little stuffy, so it probably sounds a little bit weird here today, but I really appreciate you guys putting up with me, and I hope you enjoyed this short little video. I'm excited to make more roleplay focused videos like this one in the near future. I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. We've gotten a few new patrons in the last few days. I want to just say thank you all for your constant support. If you would also like to support the channel, you can find the link to the Patreon in the description, as well as links to my Discord, where we have an awesome community, and my Twitter, where I post fun and stupid stuff sometimes. Also, completely unrelated to anything to the channel, we have a channel mascot, ladies and gentlemen. My girlfriend was just shopping recently, and she bought me this, and he's officially the channel mascot. I'm probably gonna put him in the channel banner and on my Twitter, and I love him. So, this is King Sparrow. All bow to King Sparrow. My channel's familiar. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, no nat ones.